Hi, my name is Drharrison. I'm actually a cardiologist, an interventional cardiologist, and an endovascular surgeon living in Arkansas. I'm 65 years old. Currently, I'm married. I have 5 grown children. My hobbies mostly include, unfortunately, work, but I do have some outside hobbies such as fishing and some bow shooting. And I used to fly airplanes and pilot aerobatic jets, although I haven't done that in a while now. So I was diagnosed with prostate cancer a couple of years ago when a routine PSA was taken, which is a laboratory test of a prostate-specific antigen that was elevated. I actually got the test results back, and it showed some elevation. And actually, I was so busy, I let it go. And 6 months or 9 months later, I thought about it again, got another PSA, which was markedly elevated. And at that point, I saw a urologist locally. He thought that I should have a 12-core biopsy. I did that. I had a 12-core biopsy that showed prostate cancer. I then got on the internet, like anybody would, and began to search what my options were. The options in Arkansas were limited at the time with a radical prostatectomy, or would they actually go in and remove the prostate, either robotically or surgically, or radiation, or implants, or any number of other treatments. What I found, though, by doing a good internet search was that there are other treatment modalities available. So I researched the treatment of a high-frequency ultrasound ablation. And after doing that and looking into several physicians who did that in different parts of the United States, I was in contact with one of those physicians, actually 2, and finally decided on a meeting with a physician on the East Coast, did that, and we and I got plugged into high-frequency ultrasound tissue ablation for treatment. When I was initially diagnosed, I was upset. I was anxious. It's one of those situations where you think, how can this happen to me? You know, I treat disease every day of one form or another, and now it's coming my direction. And so there's a period of denial that I went through, and finally I came to terms with that I need to be aggressive with whatever I decide to do. I had the 12-core biopsy done that was confirmed, but I felt like that I should leave the state because at the time we did not have MRI or magnetic resonance imaging or a proper imaging of the prostate. And so I went to the East Coast, saw another physician who did an MRI, and saw that the tumor was actually restricted to a single lobe. He then performed a biopsy under MRI and ultrasound guidance that also confirmed the tumor. And we talked about the different modalities of treatment, and I finally decided on high-frequency ultrasound ablation for a number of reasons. The most important reason was that the cure rates were so incredibly high. In the literature that I reviewed, both the Japanese and the U.S. literature showed that a very high cure rate, and virtually no side effects were reported. I mean, occasional, but the incidence of side effects such as urinary incontinence, loss of erectile function, all of the things that scares us, those weren't there. And so I felt like this would be the best treatment modality for me. I did not want to be the physician that had to wear Depends diapers while I did procedures. I didn't want to have loss of erectile function. I wanted to get back to a normal activity. You know, things were tough. I coming face to face with the possibility of not living or being in a position where I couldn't function normally was difficult, very difficult. It's humbling, to say the least. So there was a lot of trepidation. There was a lot of concern with both me and my family. But the physician that I used was incredible. He explained the procedure in detail, what to expect, what not to expect. I had the HIFU procedure, and just like the physician told me, I was on a beach the next day. It was crazy. I have no problems with urinary incontinence. I have no problems with erectile dysfunction. I have gone back after treatment, and we've done a repeat MRI. We've done a repeat biopsy, both an ultrasound guided biopsy and MRI guided biopsy, as well as blind biopsy in some areas of the prostate. And all has been negative. My PSA has been down to around 1, and it continues to be that. I got back to work the next week. I took off, had it done. My wife was adamant at me taking off at least 4 days off work. I felt like I could go back to work the next day. I was on the beach the next day after the HIFU procedure, and I went back to work midweek, and virtually was normal, and worked my normal 10, 12-hour day without any side effects. Well, my life today is great. I still do the prostate-specific antigen testing on an every 6-month basis. I still check in with my urologist, and my life today is no different than it was before all this happened. I see patients every day, and I shouldn't say every day, but I see them weekly at least, that have had radical prostatectomy. They've had the prostate removed surgically or robotically, or they've had radiation seed implants. And I've seen the urinary incontinence. I've seen the patient that had to take a month, 2 months, 3 months off work, all of those things. And what I want to tell those people is, gosh, I wish you could have talked to me before this and you could have had ultrasound. But of course I don't mention that because it's too late. I would absolutely recommend it to a friend and family member. In fact, is one of my very dear friends, another physician, had an elevated PSA, and I referred him to my urologist on the East Coast. I actually flew with him to the East Coast, and he underwent high-frequency ultrasound ablation of his prostate as well, and has done well with that. So absolutely, I recommend it to everyone and try to tell everyone about it. So yeah, I'm all for it.